Can you give us a bit of background about the disappearance of Native women, and then maybe show us the
book,
the little book that you're reading, the background, that just the context of that?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't know about this.
That's been the subject of some of my work, the fact that people don't know about it. I don't think it's. A couple of years back, they did a bit of research on where Native women disappear from and in what kind of numbers. And of the cities in the United States, Seattle is the number one place where Native women are murdered and go missing. Okay.
And it's a higher number than other women going
Oh
missing.
yeah, no, it's almost 3 times the number. So higher in some places than that, but it's a lot. It's
and they're purposely being targeted as Native American women?
Yeah.
Not just randomly?
No.
Okay.
They're purposely being targeted. And so Seattle's number one. And also on the list is Tacoma, and they're right across
Puget Sound.
Across Puget Sound from one another. And they had to split them up, and they're still both in the top 10, which is pretty upsetting. But there are a lot of Native women there, because there's a lot of Native presence there. San Francisco is also one of the top places that Native women disappear from, and it is never in the news, ever.
Why are Native women disappeared?
Well, they're trafficked, or they're kidnapped and trafficked, or they're murdered, and it's generally men from outside of our community, which is not usual. Generally, women are attacked either by their partner, which also happens to us, but in sort of numbers more commensurate with the general numbers. But so like serial killers generally attack people who are from their own community, right? Well, the people who attack Native women are generally not from our community. So.
But why are they being attacked?
I think because they can, because people understand on some level that it won't be as investigated as avidly as others. And basically, if you look at the numbers across all ages, Black women and Native women are kidnapped, trafficked, and murdered, depending on the age cohort, at ridiculous rates comparatively, but like Native women as an aggregate are more often targeted like that. Black women have a similar experience with slightly lower numbers.
Do you think it's targeting the reproductive capacity of a community?
I don't know that it's that intentional, but it may well be that. And I wonder if right now the uptick isn't because of that, because of the general vibe in the country. It's
because, I mean, in general, although abortion and anti-abortion rulings have the opposite effect, I guess, of trying to curtail population growth, but to me, without having researched it, without having looked into it, it seems disappearing women or killing women or controlling women's bodies seems to me to be related somehow with...
Could be. I think the big reason that they're specifically targeting Native women is that they know they're more likely to get away with that without being investigated or tracked down.
What's what? It's just fun to kill a woman and disappear a woman? I mean...
There are crazy people who have real problems that seem to do things like that.
And there are jurisdictional issues, right? So, for example, in the U.S.,
yeah.
Can you talk
There
about
are some jurisdictional issues, but as it turns out, the cities are not safe either. So, But the jurisdictional issues are that there are situations on some reservations where in order to investigate a murder on a reservation, either the FBI or local law enforcement needs to be involved because tribal police don't have authority. Now, that's not true universally anymore. There are places where tribal law enforcement has authority over their space. But it's such a patchwork, it's really hard to speak to that. But there are people who have habitually preyed upon Native women on reservations because they know that legally it's a gray area.
Right? Aren't there some instances where if you're a non-native person who has
Yes.
committed a crime on native land,
Yes.
then the native government cannot prosecute you or try you, or I think that's
Yes. But for context, that's one situation that I know of where it was a real consistent issue. And there are over 700 different tribal entities with their own cultures and their own specific laws pertaining to their land base, which is why it's really hard to talk about it. That particular issue overall, it is a fraught one because it's just really complicated. I mean, Sarah Deer attempted to address some of those issues with her book. I think it's called Native Women Surviving Violence or something like that. Something like that. I'm sorry,
Is this a
Sarah.
recent phenomenon that Native women?
No, it's an ongoing phenomenon.
That's been there from the beginning
From
of
the
the
beginning.
colonizing.
Absolutely from the beginning. Yeah.
And when they're being trafficked, are they being trafficked to other parts of the United States or outside, or doesn't one
Mostly
know
other
these
parts
things?
of the United States. I mean, we don't find all of these women, so it's hard to know what happens. I mean, eventually they do get killed, probably, right? I mean, but yeah, it's complicated stuff. And I mean, it's an issue in Canada, it's an issue in Mexico, and it's an issue here. And it's basically we are a lower class of people in all of those places.
So can you tell us about the book that you decided to write?
Yeah, so I didn't know people didn't know. I assumed everybody knew.
Okay.
And I didn't intend for it to be a book. So I don't get any money from this book. I've lost people out of my family to this. I've lost friends to this. While I was writing it, a woman I considered a second child to me, not by birth but by heart, got shot returning a child from a play date to their family. Got shot by the mother's boyfriend through a door, and they never investigated it. And he really never had any. Nothing happened to him. And then we also had somebody disappear and be found later with a pretty harrowing story I will not get into because it's their story. But yeah, so I thought people knew, and found out they didn't know. And so I wrote a series of poems, and then my family basically said, "Look, stop it. This is making you squirrely."
So this is just something you did for yourself?
Yeah, I just did a bunch of it.
Is it okay for you to read a few, or
Yeah, I
is
can
that...
read a few. I mean, I did it for myself, but then I was getting more of a profile. I had a bigger microphone to speak from, and I thought maybe publish it, you know. And since I'm not taking money from it, I felt okay about that.
Is this one of the projects where you were writing one poem a day?
It is. This was one of my poetry actions.
So this was for 30 days, or what was
For
this one?
55, I think. 50 maybe. 50.
Okay.
50. Day 20. Because baby and mother trade cells, the first gift before crayon drawings and paper weaving. Mother is a kind of mythological creature, a micro-chimera, carrying pieces of our missing daughters, our bodies a private museum of loss. Day 13. A yelling man is an emergency, but when she screamed for help, no one came. They thought it was a domestic fight. We learn these things from childhood. A yelling man is an emergency, and also someone comes on a white steed to take you away from all of this. And when the man in the white SUV came, he took her away, and they found her in a field a week later. This is not my most cheerful work. This is about the woman who got shot during the process of writing it. And it starts out in parentheses, pending investigation for Jess, day 18. We sat in my garden and ate nasturtium flowers in November. Darkness. Glorious heart. I could tell you the stories of the plants, but you knew their names. I want your boy to know how loved you were, the place set aside for you in our home. Day 22. I'm missing after the ceremony. We were alone. I'm missing. In the past, you talk about a rapist who couldn't offer prayers to the people. Missing. Retreat to a painless place. In my imagination, I miss myself. Day 23. Colonial times are now, each body captured one at a time, violence keeping every one of us in a state of fear, execution a daily possibility. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ways we used to be disappeared was into boarding schools. So, I mean, it's an ongoing project. We're a weed species.
Thank you so much for your time today. And I'm hoping that we can continue our conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming and listening.